night the fire broke out, I was actually finishing up my regular routine shift here at the office and was getting ready to go home at about 6:30. I'd been listening to scanner traffic all day and the radio traffic, and realized that this is a pretty bad fire, and a lot of people are getting trapped behind the fire. And I decided to stick around for a little bit after my shift ended, and that's when my boss contacted me and said, "Hey, we got to go over there and help these guys." Sergeant Fansler, that is. And so put all my stuff back in the car, and we raced over there as quickly as we could. And as we're coming into the Kelseyfeld office there, it was I'll never forget, it was the most eerie feeling, because that smoke plume was so thick and so black. That was still daylight out, but you had to turn on your lights because it was dark as night, directly underneath that plume. So as we're setting up the traffic and trying to get people turned around, and the chaos that comes with closing roads, along with the chaos of the fire. And then I got assigned to take a water truck into Hidden Valley to support the fire engines. And while we're there, the guy jumped in his truck. I escorted him into Hidden Valley, and we turned down Hartman Road. And I'll never forget. It was like an apocalyptic scene. It was dark. Nothing was on the scanner. It was just super quiet, and there was fire everywhere. Houses burning down, houses catching fire, trees that were just fully engulfed, and embers blowing everywhere. I was advised by a Sergeant Dye who called me and was worried that his neighbor was still at his house, at his own house, and requested that I go up and check on him if I was able to. So I responded to the area, and I was able to locate Sergeant Dye's driveway, and I pulled in there. And when I pulled in there, I got out and I noticed that I heard dogs barking. And so I called Sergeant Dye back and I said, hey, does he have dogs? And he says, yeah, he has a whole bunch of dogs and stuff. And he's like, maybe you can go in there and let him out. And so I said, oh, I'm on my way. So I run over there and I let the dogs out and prop open the door because they don't, they're scared and they don't want to come with me. And he calls me back and says, hey, if his pickup's there, then he's still there. And I turn around and his pickup's sitting right there in the driveway. So I started searching the house, and it was so smoky in that house. And a flashlight was helping, but it was just deflecting the light so bad that it was hard to see. And I was yelling for him, and I wasn't hearing anything. And at one point, it actually crossed my mind that I was probably just going to locate his body and have to make note of it. And I just about to finish the search of the house, and I heard a really muffled yell come. It's not like I said, I'm out back. So I ran to the back, and as soon as I go out there, it was just a wall of fire. The trees were on fire. All the grass was burning. The garage was fully engulfed, and it was putting off just a tremendous amount of heat. And I'm standing by the hot tub that was on the back deck there, and I'm yelling for the guy, hey, I'm out back, where are you at? Do you need help? And I'm yelling, and all of a sudden the hot tub lid just popped open, and it kind of startled me. So he's like, I'm right here. I'm like, hey, we got to get out of here. Your house is on fire, and we got to get you out of here. And the flames from the garage were actually coming over and hitting the house, and the house was starting to smoke. And I really feel like we should go back into the house and get him closed. So we just made a run for it. And as we were running through the yard, it was on fire, and there was embers everywhere, and he was barefoot. And so we got him back to the car and the sound that I remember hearing, you know, with the garage going up and the house catching on fire, and the wind, it sounded like a freight train with fire behind it. Is the only way I could describe it. It was intense. So we took off out of there, and our cars have a camera, and it was like 95 degrees, or thermometer in there, and it was like 95 degrees out, and it was like almost 10 o'clock at night by the time we got out of there, and it was a sight to see, and I don't think there's any camera or video that could describe what it looked like or felt like while you're there. And so we actually were coming up out of the hill, because there was a hill you got to climb to come back down to the road, and the trees were burning closer to the driveway. Actually, at one point I thought, I'm not sure what this is going to happen here, but so we took off and got out of there, and at that point he was my main concern, you know, get him to safety, because I knew he'd burned his feet just from what we'd gone through. And so you know, once we got out onto the main road there, it was just watch for trees and animals and fire trucks and fire personnel, and you know, make sure I get him to safety. And